So let's talk about growth goals. Yeah, this is our magic growth marketing treasure map. Yeah, this is where you see the customer flow. Here, let's see if this works. That's not that exciting. Let's go back. Normally I have like this magic pointer that's coming here. Oh yeah, there it is. So you have your acquisition, how many people are coming into the system for you, into the matrix, I always say. Then how many people get activated, do the first interaction. For B2B businesses, it's usually like they become a lead, they download the free PDF. For B2C businesses, it's more like download the app, register for free trial, stuff like that. And then the hard part, retention. How do we get people to stick with the app? How do we get them to stay there after 30 days? With CSGO skills, I was lucky when I had 30% staying after 30 days. In B2C, it's really ridiculous how many people you lose every month. And then referral and revenue, because you need to pay for the whole party before that. And personally, I look at this customer journey of mine. I usually adjust it a little bit to my own business model. And then I ask myself, where am I here right now? What is my status quo? Do I have a lack of maybe traffic? Where do people get lost on this path? Yeah, I always visualize like I'm pumping in a lot of water up there, and then where do people get lost down there before I get revenue? And wherever you lose the most people is probably the point where you should start attacking with your growth goals. So questions I ask myself, and that you can just copy for yourself, is how many visitors do I have right now on a monthly basis, for example? Then how many of those visitors actually become leads? That is the number of leads and the conversion rate from visitor to leads. How many of those leads convert to actual sales? And how much revenue did I make out of that? And at the end of the day, what most of us care about when we talk about growth marketing is, what's my cost per acquisition? Because that's what we want to drive down. Lots of people cheaper into the system. And what's your customer lifetime value? We want to get those people that we already got and get them invested more and more and more into our product or services, right? So answering that question very quickly tells you where your bottleneck is, because somewhere on there you will see, I'm losing way more people than I should. Yeah, let's look at an example. This is a very typical customer journey. We have some Facebook ads coming in. The people land on a landing page, can download something, they get an email sequence after that, and then they buy something. Yeah, in this case, we have 1,000 euros spent. We got some good traffic. 1,500 people land on our page. 20% actually subscribe, which is a reasonable conversion rate. Then four of them become actual customers, and we make revenue of 2,000 euros. So if my margin is bigger than 50%, this is a fun game to play. If not, if I spend 1,000 extra euros, yeah, on customer support and services and personal time, then this game suddenly becomes very, very, very unprofitable. Yeah. So, but what I want to get here is always play the game where I spend €1 and I get more than €1 back after all costs subtracted. Yeah, and figuring out that game, that is the growth marketing challenge. That's the goal we all have in mind. Even if you don't hunt revenue, let's say you just hunt leads or you hunt engagement, or let's say you have a publisher model, you're hunting page impressions. Yeah, you want to get more opportunities for people to see your ads, to watch the pre-rolls in the video. They can be your end goal as well, because that's where your revenue lies. So you can adjust this, but you need to understand your unit economics in order to start playing with it. And somewhere here, there is a weakness. If this would be actually working, that 1,000 euros and turn into 2,000, what's the big problem with this picture? What would you guys say? Yeah, please.
I mean, one of the problem is when you just calculate the ad spend and the revenue, you have a quote to 1 to 2, and you don't have the other cost inside, so you would, I would say, you make a loss in your.
Well, let's say there are no other costs.
So when there are no other costs, when
yeah, what's the problem?
You have you are turning too less visitors to the sales.
Okay, too few visitors into actual sales. That is one opinion. Maybe Martin in the back, you can't hear yourself.
Okay, I would just guess that it's a scaling problem. That when you have such a nice rate,
there's no scaling problem. There's no scaling problem.
And then go for it. And
yes, that's the thing. Why am I spending only 1,000 euro? Go at it. You wouldn't believe how many projects I see where I sit, yeah, but my marketing budget is 1,000 euro per month. I'm like, dude, you're turning 1,000 to 2,000. What budget? Yeah, but in some businesses, that's how it works. Yes, of course, there could be a better conversion rate as well from the visitors to the subscribers, maybe through a better incentive. There could be a cheaper cost per click, for example, if I use other traffic channels. There could be a higher customer lifetime value. Now we have 2,000 euros for sales. That is 500 euro that we're estimating at the moment. Why is it not 750? Those are all fair questions. But those are all the levers I can take. And the first thing I do, I check where's my status quo in this customer journey, write down my numbers for the month, and see where do I believe is my greatest weakness or my biggest potential. And then I ask other people, look at my numbers. Have you seen that in your realm somewhere? Where do you see the greatest weakness? Yeah, and I discuss it with my team. So usually, for most businesses I've seen, it's always on those levels of the R metrics. It's an acquisition problem. I don't have enough traffic. People are converting that are on my website, but I don't have enough traffic. Or you have enough traffic, but the activation or sign-up rate is too low. Too few people that land on my website actually engage the way I would like them to. Or you actually get them to engage with your site, but they won't stick around, and the users leave too frequently so that your active user base gets a very low ceiling. Or you have too few recommendations. If you're relying on a viral model, then you need enough people to actually share your message, your product, to do that. Or you have too little customer lifetime value. Yeah, and in those areas, you can change the questions. Like, for example, you can change the questions about not enough traffic. Maybe it's just too expensive traffic. Yeah, and some scaling problems. Yeah, for example, could be there. But it's usually, I look at those 5 areas along the growth marketing treasure map, and I start seeing my weak points. It's like knowing the corners of the chessboard for me. Okay, so then I ask, once I figured out this is where I am, and lots of companies have even the problem to say where they are because they don't know their numbers. They don't have something like Google Analytics installed or don't track their sales in a CRM system. Let's say we got that. We know where we are now. Now the question is, where is my biggest potential? Yeah, of either increasing something or avoiding some damage. And for example, in the biggest weakness, if you have anything like a software as a service, subscription model, in 90% of cases, you have a retention problem and you need to nail retention like nothing else. And until you have fixed retention, it's really hard to spend serious money on acquisition because you don't have the customer lifetime value. If you're in an e-commerce model, who of you is more in the e-commerce world? That is usually most. What the fuck are you other guys doing primarily? What else is there? Software as a service? Personal services like expert services, something like that. Publishers. Daniel, raise your fucking hand. Just kidding. And yeah, you have to ask yourself, okay, what is that? What is your biggest weakness? And once you have figured that out, that's where your focus should lie for the next 3 months. Yeah, or whatever time frame is reasonable for you. Some business models take longer, but some business models are really quick and you can focus on it for 1 month, for example, instead of a quarter.